Chapter 2, The First Californians. Chapter 2, Lesson 1, An Ancient Past. Vocabulary in the section: oral history, adapt, diversity. An ancient past. Build on what you know. Getting used to a new place is a part of moving. When people first came to California, they had to get used to the environment they found here. California's first people. Main idea. Scientists think that people first came to California by crossing a land bridge from Asia. Between 10,000 and 30,000 years ago, Earth was colder than it is now. Animals such as mammoths and mastodons roamed the land. Sheets of ice, called glaciers, covered large areas. So much water was frozen that the seas were lower. Lower levels of water made a land bridge between Asia and North America. The La Brea Tar Pits. The La Brea Tar Pits in Los Angeles have models of the animals that once lived nearby. Crossing to California. The map at the right of the next page shows one route that people might have taken to get to North America thousands of years ago. Reading the maps, what two continents did the land bridge connect? Ancient California. Many scientists think the first humans arrived in North America by walking across this land bridge. Others think people sailed to North America from Asia or Europe. People may have come by more than one route. Many California Indians have different ideas about how people first arrived. They say that human beings have lived in California since the beginning of time. Elders tell oral histories about how human beings were created in California. An oral history is an account of events that is told through speaking. Scientists think that people have lived here for at least 10,000 years. Back then, California was colder than it is today. It had more wetlands. Lakes covered areas that are now desert. The land was full of plant and animal life. Camels, giant sloths, mammoths, bison, and mastodons roamed the land. Such animals were a source of food and clothing for ancient people. They hunted with spears made of wood and stone. When the herds moved, the hunters followed. Review. What effect did cold temperatures have on the ocean 10,000 years ago? Different communities. Main idea. People in different parts of California live differently from one another. Over the years, California changed. The climate warmed, the ocean rose, and lakes dried up. Large animals died out. People stopped following herds from place to place. They settled in different regions in California. Groups of people learned to adapt to different environments and start communities. To adapt means to change, to live in a new environment. Each environment had different resources. Over time, people's ways of life became different from one another. Towns and nations. The rich resources of California supported large numbers of people in communities. A community is a group of people who live in the same place under the same laws. By about 500 years ago, as many as 3 million people may have lived north of modern-day Mexico. Probably more than 300,000 people lived in California. Most lived in small towns. Groups of towns led by the same chief formed a nation. There was great diversity among nations of California Indians. Diversity is variety. These nations spoke about 100 different languages. If you look at the chart below, you will see the major language groups during this time. California Indian languages are part of 6 major language groups. A language group is a number of languages that are related. If you look at the chart, you'll see that there was the Hokan language, the Penutian language, the Yucatecan language, the Utso-Aztecan language, the Aztecan language, and the Algic language. Using resources, page 43. California Indians built homes along the coast, on mountains, and in valleys and deserts. They changed the environment to meet their needs. People trimmed trees to make them grow stronger. They planted oaks and burned grassland to make the soil better and help the new plants grow. The Tongva first settled in the area that is now Los Angeles because it had fresh water, warm weather, and food resources. People from Spain and Mexico, who later founded the city of Los Angeles, chose the site for the same reasons. Review. Why did the Tongva choose to settle in the area that is now Los Angeles? A food resource. Many California Indians ate acorns, which grew on oak trees found in most regions of California. You can see a photograph of acorns below. Lesson summary. By about 500 years ago, more than 300,000 people lived in California. Most of them lived in small towns. People adapted to and changed the environment around them. Why it matters. Hunters who followed herds of large animals may have become the first Californians.